Figure I'll make a short video for you guys on kind of things to expect when you paint in your garage and issues I have. Every time I do a paint job in here, I try to make a note of the issues last time so I can correct them. The main issue this go around is this air hose. This is a PVC air hose. As you see, it's all wound up like that. It's binding up. It doesn't lay flat on the ground. It will kink off on you and cause airflow issues. Do not try to use one of these to paint. You need a rubber hose. I'm going back with a Flexzilla. They make an awesome hose from what I read, but you need a rubber hose that's gonna lay flat, not kink. When something like this happens on you, like I said, this started out straight and good at the beginning of the paint job, but this big chunk here, when I'm coming around with my paint gun, it would tangle. See how it's not laying flat? Potentially you can touch your panels with this hose all day and ruin your paint job. So do not use PVC for your air hose. Second issue I had, this little guy here. This got about 5 minutes of usage. I didn't use a wrench to put this on or anything crazy, just by hand. And like I say, 5 minutes of usage, that snapped off. I had a second one. I made the whole paint job with the second one, and then it blew apart as I was cleaning my gun. Normally I run my filtration here, which I was, but these are supposed to be blue. I thought I could make it. I started getting water. Thankfully I did have this, which I didn't get any water through my gun, so that was a big plus. But always make sure you have new desiccants when you go to paint. It's not worth ruining your paint job. I haven't shot a pearl in probably 10 years. This laid out really good. I was nervous because with the drop coat and stuff in the garage, I don't know, I was just a little nervous on it, but it all laid out fine. Now, there is a few places that have texture, and there's plenty, which I'm gonna sand and buff it, but there's plenty of, let me find some. You can see a little dust there, which that'll sand and buff. All the panels are gonna have a little bit of dust. Right there's a good one. This is just a smudge from me touching it, but that's nothing there. Let's see. The dust is your main thing. If you know how to cut and buff, you can fix it, which I do too much cutting and buffing. Here's an issue I don't like to see. You can see I was laying it on nice here, and I'm gonna blame this on limited light. I have quite a few lights in here when I paint, but I really need a gun light. Let's see if I can show you that. It goes almost to here, so I'll have to 2000 that down and then run my little 3-inch buffer to get that shine. It still has, I don't know, 3 coats of clear, maybe 4. So there's plenty to work with, but I got that dry spray. I think when I was spraying the backside, it landed on it. Maybe I didn't have it wet enough for it to set right. Other than that, I did get 2 runs. One of them super easy, which I'm happy about. It's down here on the bed. I'm gonna blame the light again, but you can blame skill. Here it is. That's gonna be 1500, 2000, 3000. I'm buffing this thing anyway because I want it to lay out like glass. This is probably the worst panel as far as the dust went, which I'm gonna say it kicked up from my air pressure on my gun and just landed on the flat panel like this. So I will spend a good amount of time cutting all that out. It looks worse than it is because some of that can be in your last layer. Either way, it'll be flat when it's done, and I'll show you guys that when it's done. Now, other than that, my main issue was this hose did touch my rocker, which I spent a ton of time welding and making look right. And as you can see, I tried to throw in a good amount of clear to remedy that touching it. Now I have a massive run down there that I have to fix, and that is to me, that's a hard spot to cut and buff because it's rounded. I will use this little guy I made with some 1500 and just take my time sand that out. So honestly, problems you have, use a nice air hose, rubber air hose. Make sure your water separation is on point. Plenty of light, more light. Possibly a gun butt or a Lumilite would have made things way better. I will get all this fixed up and show you guys the finished result. Hopefully dust free and no cut throughs.